for the victory lap, though. Whoa, whoa. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should succumb. What for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the initial, the first, the jump off of the digital Gumbo podcast. I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr. A little bit about this podcast. I'll just be bringing my friends in, talking about current events with some cultural references and sort of a urban spin on what's happening as far as current events and world news is taking place. A little bit about myself, Nookie Bishop Jr., Buffalo, New York native, born and raised, a transplant here in Washington, D.C., and a little bit of media background. So for this creative outlet, I'm definitely appreciative. Maybe I'll learn a little bit about myself. Maybe I'll learn a little bit about the world, and maybe learn even a little bit about you. But enough about me. With me today, my friends are going to go by aliases. So today I have a good friend of mine. We're going to call him Idris Elbow Jr.
Yes,
Idris Elbow.
The one and only Idris Elbow with a little bit of ash on the elbow. You know,
Idris Elbow. So, man, listen, the hottest topic that's going out right now, we're going to talk about this coronavirus.
Oh, man, the coronavirus. Wow. Let's get into it, man.
How it's going to impact.
But before you read that off, right, you said coronavirus?
Coronavirus, yeah.
Corona, like the beer.
Like the beer, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. That's already got some marks against it right there.
Yeah, like they need to stop. Like Zika sounds like Zima. It's just like, why y'all need to stop making these viruses sound like beverages.
It's like when you name a new pill, like you got to come up with a name. They just kind of chose beer.
See, okay, and those people get paid. There actually was a 60 Minutes piece, and they're like, there's this naming committee. That's what they do. They name the new pills, which sound like.
So you actually got a committee to come up with the names of the pills?
Yeah. Like they
I always thought it was just like one lazy person in there in the back that just kind of came up with it, but it's a whole committee.
It's a whole committee, and half those names, somebody black is on that committee because half those new drugs sound like black people you may or may not have grown up with. Ozempic. What the hell? Ozell and Olympics. Ozempic.
That's my cousin.
That
Got a cousin named Ozympia. All right, so read it off. Like, what's the Wikipedia story on like Corona? So this is the official kind of rundown on what the coronavirus is. And if I'm not mistaken, it started where? Was it in China? China.
Yeah.
It was in China.
Coronaviruses are a group of viruses that cause diseases in animals, including humans and birds. In humans, the viruses cause respiratory infections, which are typically mild, but may rarely be fatal. In cows and pigs, they may cause diarrhea, while in chickens, it can cause an upper respiratory disease. There are no vaccines yet or antiviral drugs that are approved for prevention of treatment. And there's a picture of coronavirus, which looks like coconuts cut in half with spores. I don't think you want to breathe and inhale that shit.
But like, how do you tell if like a pig has like diarrhea? Like, don't they always have diarrhea? Like, that's crazy.
That farm science.
And
I am not
any virus that gives you like pig diarrhea is like, it's a danger to humankind.
And they need all the animals for food consumption they can get over there in China because they have 1.3 billion people. So
that's a lot.
Literally, 2 out of every 5 people in the world is either Chinese or Indian. No wonder they're trying to get the hell up out of there and get over here. I would too.
Yeah, if you got pig diarrhea floating around, like if you catch that, like I wouldn't want that.
I mean, ain't half the specials that you go to for at the Chinese restaurant, which I don't go to any inner city Chinese food restaurant whatsoever.
What?
But
wait! I love inner city Chinese restaurants, and here's why. Right, all inner city Chinese restaurants sell black food.
This is true.
Point blank.
I'm
it's
with
like
you.
Ribs, fried chicken, like whatever you want. So I think it's like it's a cross. So I always go to the Chinese spot in the hood.
Or what they want us to believe is ribs or fried chicken.
Oh.
So I'd rather go with that fake shit, whatever they have at P.F. Chang's. I know it's not authentic. Okay, so here's so this is how I understand it to be the genesis of Chinese restaurants in America. Okay, so generally started, I think, on the West Coast, right? And so Chinese immigrants, they wouldn't give them no other job, so they, started their restaurants. So the deal is that they tried to give them, tried to sell authentic Chinese food. And the American palate at that time in the early 1900s was not ready for it.
Yep.
Like they thought
Americans
it was nasty.
don't like
So
original food.
So what they started to do was take little bits of meat and little bits of vegetables, like shit that might be floating around in a pot, and then they put some sauce on it and shit, and they started chop suey, and Americans fucking love that. It's like we trying to give you the real.
America is a
melting pot. And then you turn your nose up at it, but we give you shit, and you love this shit. I mean,
it's the melting pot. That's America.
It's like, so people kept making more and more chop suey in the whole 9 yards, and then they would bring their people over, set them up, and then the restaurants just spread all around the country, and then there you have it. So I mean,
well, I'm talking about, so you talked about the restaurant spreading, but like this coronavirus is spreading too, bro.
This
is
just
like Chinese restaurant, but can you imagine the coronavirus in the hood though? That wouldn't be pretty at all.
So, first of all, we got to talk about, so TSA, right? So their job is to protect you, right? So I don't know what arm of the government checks you when you come off this plane for this coronavirus, but they look at the log, the flight register, and they see who's coming in from China. So I heard this morning that somebody was on a Southwest plane. They checked them when they came off the plane, and they had the coronavirus. How does that conversation go? Like, you're deboarding.
I don't believe that. I don't believe they checked anybody on a Southwest flight.
Well, I found it hard to believe too. But I guess San Francisco's one of the airports, Houston, New York, L.A., and I forget what the fifth airport is. But essentially, if you're coming from China, or you've been known to go to China, like, how does that work? You're deboarding me, like, sir, you come over here. They check you in the back, and then they ask you questions like, do you have a respiratory virus, or have you had diarrhea lately? Like, hey, that's some personal shit. Yeah. I don't know who you are, so why am I telling you my personal business? Now, you might be asthmatic and breathe funky ass air for 3 hours.
You're on a
when
plane.
You got on the plane, you didn't have no respiratory complications, and then you get off the plane like, I am wheezing. Oh shit! I mean, they might, you might be screened for coronavirus and not even have coronavirus.
But what worries me though is like one of the things they use is like the temperature, like gun, right? Like they point this kind of gun at you at your forehead, and it's supposed to read your temperature. And I guess it's to kind of tell if you have a fever or not. But it's like that can't be accurate, right?
It can't be. Like when you get HVAC done at your house and they put that gun up at the vent, like, oh, it's blowing air, and the air is 78.7. No, it's not, because it's in the corner where a draft is, so it could be higher, it could be lower. So that's one. So every day there's like a new city, like New York, we have one. It was a case here in the Washington area.
They had a case here in the Washington area?
Yeah. So I guess
coronavirus. Wow.
So the deal is that, okay, this is crazy. They're running out of masks and gloves in China because, A, you don't want to breathe that shit in, and B, you don't want to touch nobody that's got the coronavirus. I mean, I don't know how communicable it is. Like, if you have a respiratory illness, do you cough out and then somebody gets those spores in them? I mean, this is like the start of a fucking Stephen King novel. This is crazy.
They said the original person who had the virus that came over to the U.S. had been in contact with 16 people. People. And so they kind of put this graphic up of like 16 kind of anonymous shadows.
They come with those graphics so quick.
But it didn't have any faces on it. So it just like, it created even more panic. It's like, who is one of those shadows? Like, that could be your neighbor. That could be your coworker.
Subject
You
X.
don't know.
So they're running out of masks. They're running out of gloves. So 3M They're rushing, like they doing like triple overtime shifts to get as many masks and gloves as they can over here. Then Friday, the stock market dropped off 200 points. Like any company that's doing business in China, it was not a good day for your stock.
Wow.
And then, so you knew that this was coming, right? So the coronavirus is the first shoe, and the second shoe to drop was, and now pharmaceutical companies are racing to have a vaccine for the coronavirus and should have one within 90 days. But this is like outbreak. You're like, like those scary movies and like the monkey breaks out from the lab and then they get this
sounds
disease.
Really bad for the population, but really good for like 3M and drug companies. That seems a little suspect there.
Unbelievable. So there's 1.4 million people in China. So somebody was asking me, they're like, how come all these things start in China? Like I said, 2 out of every 5 people in the world is either Chinese or Indian. So it's like you could cough on the east coast of China at 5 a.m. and by the time the sun goes down, theoretically, the virus could be over there. So they locking down cities that have like 30 million people
But
in
check this out, though. Check this out, right? Like you read about the coronavirus first, right? And you said it was in animals like pigs, other things. But you also started out by saying it was in birds, right? So if birds can transmit it, birds can fly. They fly from one place
bird
to the
poop
next.
on your car.
Everywhere.
And you touch the door handle where the bird pooped, and then you shake somebody's hand. That shit is dangerous, bro.
Yeah. So even though you checking people on a plane that's like flying, like what about the birds and how they kind of move from place to place and migrate? So that's going to be kind of hard to kind of contain.
I feel for the Chinese people. Like this is now the year of the rat. The year of the rat in the Chinese zodiac. Every year, lunar year is represented by an animal. So actually, I'm pleased that it's the year of the rat. If you believe in that type of thing, and I kind of do a little bit, it's supposed to be a year of prosperity. And I read this. It's like the rat also means like childbirth, because rats like get it on and reproduce very quickly. So it's supposed to be like a year of abundance. But that's fucked up. Like it's supposed to be like Chinese New Year. Like if they cancel Juneteenth or something like that, right? So Chinese New Year. And all the dragons and all the firecrackers and shit, they had to like cancel them like here in the U.S. and over in China because they don't want people to get together. It's like, again, outbreak. It's like one person and they cough and then it spreads all around. It's like that's what's on the rundown here. You're listening to the Digital Gumbo podcast again with Nookie Bishop Jr. I'm here with a good friend of mine going by the alias today of Idris Elbow, and we're just talking about things that are hot and what's going on in the street and just current events with an urban view.
Okay, I've been working like 3 jobs. Probably why I never see ya. Probably why I never have time for the fake friends. I won't be ya. Oh God, I've been running now. Up early when the sun is out. Not setting out my own soul, but those real ones, they coming out. Oh look who's reaching out. Old friends wanna feature now.
All right, so this next thing we're gonna get into, man, is this doomsday clock. This past week it was set just 100 seconds before the metaphorical and shit, I hope not, real annihilation of planet Earth and all mankind. So this doomsday clock started back in 1947 and it's kept by these sort of nuclear atomic scientists. I hate to use this type of metaphor, but so they keep track of the doomsday clock. So
this is the likelihood that like humanity would just like cease to exist.
Correct. So it's set 100 seconds, and this is absolutely crazy. I guess what's going on in North Korea with the threat of nuclear arms, and then this arms race between the United States and Russia sort of kicked it off, man. But we are metaphorically 100 seconds, 1 minute and 40 seconds until annihilation. How you feel about that?
100 seconds to annihilation?
100 seconds to annihilation. So when things happen, they
humankind.
move it up a second. When good things happen, they move it back a second. But we are closer than we have ever been to the destruction of planet Earth and all humanity. Where does that make you feel?
Like, one of the things that feels about right now. So like that's the crazy part about it, right? It's like you feel like it's something impending, like kind of coming down on us. And so like for me, it's like, well, shoot, it ain't nothing else to lose. Like what do you do? So like having something like that, I don't know if it's a good idea. Cause that puts you in a mindset of like, oh, this thing about to go out. I might as well go ahead and like do some stuff I've been putting off.
You know, I wonder if it's people that walk around with not just a regular clock or watch, but they got to watch. It is 100 seconds to annihilation. Well, I better get my 401k and all that other shit together. Like that's just crazy,
Nobody thinks like
man.
that. Nobody thinks like that. And it's well, I guess when you think about it, like right, we're all on a clock at some point. You know, individually, like we're on a clock. So you kind of think about that, then I can see why you would set something up for all of humanity, though. But like my thing is like who's monitoring that? Like who makes the adjustments?
Man, it's this commission of like I don't have their official name, but I can take a look. But essentially, there's these nuclear scientists, and they started the clock in 1947. And, based upon world events, they go ahead and set it up. The doomsday clock is a symbol that represents a likelihood of a man-made global catastrophe, maintained since 1947 by the members of the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists. Oh, boy.
Wait, what would the initials be of that? That sounds like some bullshit.
BAS, and you can just take the A out, and they the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. The clock is a metaphor for threats to humanity from the unchecked scientific and mechanical advances. The clock represents a hypothetical global catastrophe at midnight, and the Bulletin's opinion on how close the world is to global catastrophe as a number of minutes to midnight.
Wait. So is the number of minutes to midnight is predicting of like what's the farthest it's ever been away from like midnight?
I think like when it started, it may have been like 17 minutes away from midnight.
17 minutes away. So the farthest we've been away from destruction as a human civilization is like 17 minutes.
Correct.
Man, that says a lot about humanity.
And then 47, so that's after the atomic bomb was dropped. And it's just like, bro, like,
wow.
So, in football, like, we're here at the 2-minute warning. You should have gave me the 2-minute warning 20 seconds ago. We inside. We got 1-4. Look,
wow.
we got 1
seconds.
minute and 40 seconds. We on the 2-yard line, and we got to score this touchdown and a 2-point conversion to avoid the humanity. So who you going to take, John Elway, Pat Mahomes, or what you going to do? You ain't got no timeouts. Ain't no timeouts.
Wait. You know what? I just found out. That 17 minutes is right, but that was in like 1991. That was the farthest. Like it was like I think in 47 it was like 7 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
And the farthest is 1991, 17 minutes. Now when you think about what was happening in 1991, I think it was the golden era of hip hop.
Golden era hip hop. So economy was good.
Economy was good. So I bet that was the farthest away humanity was from destruction. And you got Wu-Tang Clan forming.
That's crazy.
That's I think that's connected, man.
Man, that's crazy. So we are 100 minutes away from, or 100 seconds away from death and destruction. That's something for y'all to think about. And again, you listen to the Digital Gumbo podcast. After the break, we'll be talking about emotional support animals on airplanes. We'll be sharing our thoughts on that. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Digital Gumbo podcast with Nookie Bishop Jr. That's myself.
And
my
I'm
guest today,
Idris Elbow.
Tell them.
Yep.
We'll be right back.
Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing. How can I find the answers? I don't even got the questions. Sometimes I'm at the peak and other times I'm about to fall. Sometimes I gotta wonder what I'm doing here at all. Sometimes in my mind I just sit here and I'm guessing.
All right, welcome back to the Digital Gumbo podcast. Again, I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr., and with me in studio today, my main man.
How y'all doing, fellas? I am Idris Elbow. How you doing, listeners?
What's going on, y'all? So the next thing I want to talk about is some restrictions, finally, that the FAA and other agencies are about to put, hopefully, on these quote-unquote emotional support animals. So there has been an expansion of emotional support animals.
Wait, these the animals that they bring on planes and take around with them?
These are the animals that these people bring on planes. And if you ever been on like a larger plane, it looks like fucking Noah's Ark when they parading these animals down the aisle. I have no problem. So here's the prejudice or the eye, or based upon the experiences that I've had, that to me signifies what an emotional support animal is. So when I was growing up, essentially, and there are handicaps that are visible, and then there are invisible or handicaps or physical challenges that we can't see, right? Okay, so a person may have like a visual impairment, and the dog guides them historically based upon me as my own history. You see that they have a dog, the dog guides them, all good. Okay, then it started with the little dogs, these teacup dogs that these fucking people bring, and they hold them in their arm on the plane. Okay,
but some people have, like you said, that hidden disability that you're not sure like what it is, and you can't see it. But that
is correct. I'm trying to be patient with that. Okay, then it's the dogs on cages that you put underneath your seat. Okay, that's where we got into, and then the shit just got off the chains. Okay, so here's a small list of animals that could be considered emotional support animals. Okay, snake. Bad idea.
Wait.
Did these fucking people see snakes on a plane?
Wait, how can a snake be an emotional support?
You might be a devil worshiper or something like that, and the personification of Satan, Beelzebub, Lucifer is in that snake, and it's your emotional support animal. So you bring that on.
But then, most snakes, you can't have them out in the open, right? Like I can see even the dogs, right? Like they have to be in the little whatever they're in, but like a snake, like what are you gonna put a snake in?
So you remember the old school WWF wrestler Jake the Snake Roberts, and he used to have that bag.
Yeah.
Maybe you put the snake in the bag, and I don't know, you put that in the overhead compartment, or do you let a flight attendant handle that? I don't know. So a snake can be considered a emotional support animal.
Yeah, but then you have to, like, even if you put it in like a glass, like aquarium or terrarium, right? Like you got to carry this big glass thing around. If you don't do that, the only other option is like a bag, because you can't put a snake on a leash.
What is the fucking genesis of how you would approach your doctor to say, you know what, I'm flying to Albuquerque or insert any city, and I want to take my snake with me. Can you give me a note that says that I could fly with this snake? And then your doctor will have one or two responses. A, you crazy as hell, no. Or B, sure, no problem. Okay, so that's one. So rabbits can also be considered emotional support animals. I guess they would be caged. Yeah. I guess you would put it under your seat.
See, here's my thing about rabbits. I agree. They would make a great emotional support animal. You can kind of hold them. They're cuddly. You can kind of stroke their fur. But you know what? I've had rabbits before. I grew up with rabbits. Rabbits shit a lot. A lot. Everywhere. So, like, that's the problem. And you talking about whether you're in a cage or a bag, like, they dropping these, like, round pellets everywhere.
Okay, so here's my take on that. Rabbits shit stinks. So in 17B, you got the rabbit, which should stay in the cage and should not be petted at any point during the damn flight. But in 16A, you got Jake the Snake Roberts, that snake, which they have an acuity and can smell shit.
Wow.
And the rabbit. And they
all
find
together.
a hole in the corner of the bag.
And all that air is mixing, so they're gonna sense it.
The snake hasn't
in a closed
eaten
environment
because they don't want the snake to shit on the flight. The snake comes and then eats the rabbit.
Wow.
Slithers underneath. Nobody's paying attention. You sleep on your flight. And then your snake is gone. So that's a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I wonder what happens, like, emotionally when that happens.
Well, somebody got a
well-fed snake eats your emotional support rabbit. Like what? Like
somebody got a well-fed emotional support animal, and somebody is emotional support animal less. Okay, so that's just a hypothetical. I'm just saying, and that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, I bought my rabbit on. And the snake ate the
I'm
rabbit.
thinking about this. Like it's like if you ever enter a relationship and you have emotional support animals, you got to figure out like who you compatible with by the type of animal that you got, right? Like an emotional support snake person that has that, an emotional support rabbit, they can't date. It doesn't work.
I would never. Like, animals belong in the zoo and the wild. That's just my take. Okay, so cats. We're just gonna. I'm not a cat person. Like.
Cats hurt people emotions. Like there's no such thing as an emotional support cat. That is impossible. Cats hate people.
People be flying with these damn cats.
Can you imagine a cat being an emotional support animal? Like this, like you ain't nothing.
Cats don't give a shit about you.
Like,
cats don't care nothing about.
You'll be more depressed with a cat.
All they care about is food and water and get the fuck out of my way. Okay, but this is the one. This is the one that fucking kills me. Peacocks.
Wait.
Pheasants.
Wait, like you said, the peacock, the kind that has like the feathers that like spread out. That's like a bird, a flightless bird.
Peacocks and pheasants are considered emotional support animals. So here's the deal, right? So you get on first class, right? Okay, no problem. And then like you're in the first boarding group. Then you see, excuse the expression, this motherfucker coming down the aisle with a goddamn peacock. Or a pheasant. So they have a wide plume. I mean, they got the fucking wingspan of Manute Bol. And when I'm not, like Jack Hanna or nothing like that, but if they get freaked out, they like their plume comes out and shit. So the person with the snake then got on, the snake smells the pheasant freaks the fuck out, and then the rabbit's like, it's like, and they coming down the aisle. Like, what do you do with a pheasant? It's like, do you buy an extra ticket for a pheasant? If the plume comes out, do you like?
My thing is like, if you can bring all that on a plane, but you can't bring that little bottle of alcohol. What if I need like an emotional
3 ounces
support?
Or less.
Emotional support like Jack Daniels.
There you go. Like my emotional support animal is Jack Daniels. That's where I draw the line. So if you want to have your emotional support dog, that's cool. If you want to sit in the front and the whole 9 yards, but parading this shit down.
But I think the end of it will be like, because you can register your emotional support animal. This is a whole debate about what animals you can register. We should just register like a tiger as an emotional support animal.
I think that would be the end of the rules. And they're trying to restrict it just to dogs. Like these flight attendants are saying, we don't get paid enough for this. And, these people fly with these emotional support pigs. What in the hell? We just talked about the coronavirus, right? So the pig is diarrhea. And you don't know where that pig came from.
Wait. Are you telling me the coronavirus started with an emotional support pig?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it could be a Chinese pig that you don't know about. And then, like, if a pig shits on a plane, who cleans that up?
I think you're onto something. This connection between the coronavirus and emotional support animals. Wow.
Airplanes make the world smaller. So, you got a pig that shits on a plane. That pig shit stinks. Who cleans that up? Do you even have effective chemicals to deal with the cleanup of that? Then where do you throw that pig shit rag out? Like, there's, you know what I'm saying? And you got to smell pig shit for 3.5, 4 hours, 5 hours or more on a transcontinental flight. That's crazy. So, again, they're trying to change the rules. The flight attendants are just fed up at this point as far as these emotional support animals are concerned. I'm cool with dogs, but cats and pigs and pheasants and peacocks. The only peacock I know is on the NBC network. Boom, boom, boom.
Listeners, you heard it first here on Digital Gumbo. There may be a link between emotional support animals and the coronavirus.
Snakes and rabbits. Unbelievable. All right. You listen to the Digital Gumbo podcast. We'll be back in a hot second. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Digital Gumbo podcast. I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr., and joining me today is my main man. Introduce yourself, bro.
Yes, I'm your co-host, Idris Elbow, with a little bit of ash on the elbow.
Appreciate you joining us, man. So we're going to get into some lighthearted news, but it is a little bit sad. The Planters Corporation killed off Mr. Peanut this week.
They killed Mr. Peanut?
They killed Mr. Peanut. He was 104, 1916 to 2020. Rest in peace, Mr. Peanut. And so essentially they put out a commercial. Wesley Snipes, ironically, was in the commercial.
Wait, Wesley Snipes is still alive?
Wesley Snipes is still alive. He was in the movie Dolomite Is My Name most recently. But yes, he was in the commercial. And essentially the Peanut Mobile was riding with three, including Mr. Peanut and Wesley Snipes and another gentleman. They go over a ravine and they're holding on to a limb, and Mr. Peanut lets go. He falls on the top of the
Mr. Peanut sacrificed himself.
He sacrificed
for Wesley Snipes.
For Wesley Snipes. Passengers 57. Always bet on black.
Mr. Peanut is down for the culture.
And then the Nutmobile exploded, And
wait, did you say Nutmobile?
The Nutmobile, yeah, it's like a
so
big
the
peanut.
Nutmobile went over the cliff.
Yeah, it's like I always confuse the Nutmobile and that Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. You ever seen the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile?
Yeah.
They hand out them damn hot dog whistles and shit and try to get you to eat them tainted meats, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so Mr. Peanut died, and you know, the tributes came in, and it was absolutely hilarious, man. But as a South Carolina native, tell me about your relationship with peanuts. You introduced me to boiled peanuts a couple years ago, so take it away, man.
So for the listeners who don't know, I grew up in the South. So I grew up in South Carolina, and I grew up on a long dirt road, and everything like Southern, like I love. And one of the things I really love are boiled peanuts. So like, if you have not had boiled peanuts, they're this wonderful, like, you know, warm, salty, just delicacy from the South. So like Mr. Peanut holds a special place in our heart in the South. So I'm torn up to hear that Mr. Peanut passed away. So, you know, we gotta have to like do a tribute to Mr. Peanut. I'm thinking like a black eulogy, like a black funeral for Mr. Peanut. Like, you know, could you imagine how they would go? Who would show up at a black funeral for Mr. Peanut?
Shit, anybody that you invite, they just might be trying to get some free snacks.
He's just like everybody.
So my dad's from South Carolina. We talked about this previously, Idris, and that's one of the origins, unfortunately, of Africans coming to this country. So
that's where the original boiled peanut started, Africa.
Yes. Yep. Boiled peanuts have its roots from Africa. So here's the deal. The comments on the death of Mr. Peanut online were absolutely hysterical. So Mr. Peanut in the commercial falls off the limb, dies. He hits the peanut mobile, and then the peanut mobile explodes. So one comment was like, so did Mr. Peanut actually die busting a nut? That was absolutely hilarious.
What? I think it's hilarious.
It's like if the peanut mobile exploded, did Mr. Peanut die busting a nut?
Oh my God!
But what they're gonna do now is for the Super Bowl, there's supposed to be a funeral. You mentioned the eulogy.
Oh,
There's gonna be a funeral.
It's gonna be a funeral in the Super Bowl
for Mr. Peanut. So I'm just like, if Mr. Peanut is 104 years old, who's coming? Who's gonna attend the funeral for Mr. Peanut? And B, here's a deep question for you: is Uncle Rich Pennybags from Monopoly?
That's his boy,
Mr. Peanut's real daddy.
What?
Okay, ready?
No
Here we go.
Mind blown.
Mr. Peanut, monocle, top hat, cane.
Wow.
Uncle Pennybags, monocle, top hat, cane.
You know, I'm thinking like, would Mr. what's Moneybags from Monopoly, but then you had what's the one from Annie? The rich white
Daddy Warbucks.
Daddy Warbucks. Would Daddy Warbucks like show up at a Mr. Peanut funeral?
Okay, so
like,
here's
who would show up at a Mr. Peanut funeral?
Let's see, Bill Gates,
Jeff
Bezos.
Wait, that is Mr. Peanut. Are they the same person?
I never seen them both at the same time.
Never.
Warren Buffett.
Wow. But you know what? Like, I'm thinking, like, if you made it was a black funeral though, it'd be like Mr. Peanut like passing away. It would be like how would that look? Like, who would show up? Like, you know, you might have like a mistress show up at the black Mr. Peanut funeral. Like, who would be the mistress?
The minister would be like, and in the front row, we'd like to thank the great granddaughter. Halle Berry, producer Eric said, Halle Berry. The minister be like, and in the front row, we'd like to welcome the great granddaughter of George Washington Carver, who did so many things with the peanut. We're so
God, that's wrong.
Glad and happy to have him there.
That is wrong.
We also have Brother Jeff, who is in the front row. We'd like to thank Jeff for coming all the way out today from Georgia.
And we'd like to thank our special friend, Mrs. Butterworth.
Mrs. Butterworth and Aunt Jemima. Thank you so much for showing. Peter Pan. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Pan is in the front row. Thank you for coming out for our brother Peanut.
No. I got this. Wait, Eric, I need some church music. I need some black, down-home, southern, like, church organ music, right? You be like, yes, brothers and sisters, I'm the Reverend Idris Elbow. And we come here today, brothers and sisters, to celebrate the life of a well-known dignitary, Mr. Peanut. And you had the great creator who reached down low and grabbed his nut and put it in his bosom. Yes, Lord.
He also be like, and in the front row, we'd like to welcome. You're not the former president. You always the president. A Peanut's friend.
Yes.
Mr. Jimmy Carter, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Give it up. Give it up, ladies and
gentlemen. Welcome, brother. Welcome. Unbelievable. So it's going to be interesting to see who attends. And that's all thing. Like Mr. T, right? He's not T. He said my first name is Mr. It's like he took an ordinary common peanut.
Yep.
You put a top hat on that motherfucker and a cane and a monocle, which are 3 items of sophistication.
Yep.
His name is Mr. Peanut. So rest in peace, Mr.
Rest
Peanut.
in peace, Mr.
It's going to
Peanut.
be interesting to see what's going to happen with this funeral, man. But rest in peace, Mr. Peanut. Hey, you're listening to the Digital Gumbo Podcast. We'll be back after this.
I take my time, flex like whoa. I take my time, just let's go. I take my time, flex like whoa. Tell them bye, though. I'm on the scene, Billie Jean had to let him know. Put my demons in that cage, then I let him go. Mama told me just to chill, but it's ill still. When that ill will got me turning into Kill Bill. Y'all taking shots, but y'all.
All right, welcome back to the Digital Gumbo Podcast. I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr., joined by my main man today. Introduce yourself, brother.
Yes, I'm your co-host, Idris Elbow.
Thank you all. Hey, this podcast is just about current events with our own spin on it. And this one has to be filed under people who have too much fucking time on their hands. So these scientists actually unearthed this 3,000-year-old mummy. And hear me out. Based upon their otolaryngological, is that a word? Otolaryngological.
What is that?
So like ear, nose, and throat.
Okay.
So they essentially looked at the throat area of this 3,000-year-old mummy, looked at the larynx area, the neck, and then they looked with a scan at the voice box.
I'm wondering why.
Exactly. It's like, water and Flint. Gentrification. Oh, we got to get that mummy voice. Yeah, we need that mummy voice. We need that mummy voice.
Out of all things you can study, it's a mummy's voice.
So they took this 3,000-year-old mummy, like, what did this mummy sound like? And they came up with the sound. I'm going to play this.
Wait, you actually have the sound?
Listen,
Wait,
we
so-
spare no expense here on the Digital Gumbo Podcast.
So this is based on how the throat of the mummy was designed.
Sir, it's not the throat of the mummy. It's an otolaryngological. Otolaringer. I don't need otolaryngological. There it is. Ear, nose, throat scan and assessment of said mummy to see what the prayer caller.
So this mummy had to be at least thousands of years old,
3,000 years old.
3,000 years old. So I want to hear what this mummy has to say. Like, what great wisdom from beyond is this mummy bringing?
They took their resources together and recreated the mummy sound, and this is what the mummy would sound like.
Wait, what? Wait. That's the entire recording.
That is what they use based upon, as I said, sir, the otolaryngological scan of the neck, throat, and voice box to produce that sound.
My God.
They worked hard on that. Don't you dare minimize and be.
Do you know how much time and money probably went into that?
What
was the sound again? Can you reproduce that sound?
I don't even have to go to video to do that. I can mimic many sounds. Here is what the mummy sound like. So that sounds like one or two things to me.
So they probably spent millions of dollars to come back with this.
Again, sir. Clean water and Flint.
Wow.
Gentrification and homelessness. mummy voice.
This is what you decide to spend money on.
They have checked the box on number 3. So 1, it sounds like the start of the damn Purge. It also sounds like, remember those dolls with those scary blinky eyes? Like you set it down,
yes,
and the eyes would close, and then you sit them up, and the eyes will open. Those are the scare. Wait. I watch a lot of episodes of the Twilight Zone. I don't fuck with dolls.
Wait, you know what's like? So what if this is like, you know how like Tupac said, "Don't bring me back as a hologram." Prince said that thing, like, "Don't bring me back as a hologram." They brought Tupac back as a hologram. Like, what if like they could just put stuff in your mouth from beyond the grave, right? Like, what? I'm pretty sure that mummy don't want that to be his last words.
No, sir, no. That sounded like a cat. His voice sounded like this. Pay attention.
Okay. That's either way. Either way, I don't want that to be my last words. People remember me by.
I'm gonna be buried with a copy of this episode of this podcast on like a stick, like a memory stick, so that they're not trying to unearth me.
Like your own words.
That's scary as hell. But here's the deal, right? This is one of the biggest. This is a great scam. Like, they unearthed a 3,000-year-old mummy. First and foremost, have they not seen these fucking movies where like the mummies come back to life?
The mummy returns,
or whatever, and
that's like with a curse usually.
And then like, oh, you want to come back and create the mummies like that, and you get attacked in the night. Now, I would not be surprised if in a couple weeks the scientists who unearthed the 3,000-year-old mummy died of mysterious illnesses last week. Like that, recently they unearthed the mummy and created the sound of the mummy, which sounded a little something like this.
You know, wait.
Go ahead.
You know, I what if like this is connected to the coronavirus? Like, what if like they opened this mummy's like tomb, and it was like it released the coronavirus? It might be connected.
Look here. This is how black people and people of my ilk operate. When someone is dead, they stay there. At the funeral procession, at the cemetery, you can either choose the coffin to stay up, or you can just see it be lowered, and then you throw the shovel of dirt on and some roses, and that's a wrap. That's fucking it. Now, unless there's some mysterious circumstances about the death is not, the people is not exhumed by your friends. That's like left up to the scientific and mortuary science community. Okay, so there's that.
But
we not what gives, who the fuck opens a coffin?
You know what I think this is? I think that mummy is actually Mr. Peanut.
You are sick, man.
Just think about it. You never heard Mr. Peanut talk.
I'm gonna leave it on this. I'm waiting for the mummy voice remix to come out. You know how we are.
We put internet.
Like it's gonna be like a loop beat. You listen to the Digital Gumbo podcast. Hilarity will ensue. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. Underrated, we the underdogs, underestimated. We the one.
Out of the darkness, I rose up. Gold in my soul, it's a gold rush. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Digital Gumbo podcast. Brother, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm your co-host, Idris Elbow, the broke Idris.
And I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr. So we want to talk now about a woman on trial in Utah for something that billions of women do every day around the world.
Wow, what's that?
In her own house, came home after a day of work, took her bra off.
Yeah, that's a ritual.
It's a ritual.
Yeah. Women taking their bra off at the end of the day, that's a ritual.
Totally understand that. Free the boobies. She may have been momentarily topless in front of her stepchildren, and under some type of Utah law prohibiting toplessness, I guess that even includes in front of your own stepchildren in your house, she is on trial for indecency.
Wait. With her own stepchildren?
With her own stepchildren. So
wow.
Here, this is a legit case. So my 2 points, and then I'll have you talk about these. One, who the fuck reported this to the police? Like, I like to report some titties. 911. I like to report some titties.
Wait, did the stepchildren report it? Like what? Like,
I know she didn't call herself.
Like, what titties did you see?
I like to report some titties.
My
stepmom took her bra off, and I saw her titties for 8.7 nanoseconds. You need to have the police come over here and investigate.
Wow.
But
who reported it?
Exactly. Okay. Who reports this? Then 2, this is Utah, and judge not, lest ye be judged. But this is a state where you'll be hard-pressed to find an alcoholic beverage, and you could have multiple wives, but yet and still they going
but
about
your wives
a
just
woman,
can't show their boobies.
Exactly, they can't show in their own house. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
Man, so first of all, like you said, like who reported this? Like how do you even find this out? And even if you go beyond that, like who reported it? Like why is that a crime? Right? Like if you and I took our shirts off right now in the studio, nobody would have a problem with it. Well, some people might have a problem with it because, like, I think I actually have A cups now.
Man, we all getting older, man. So
I don't know. But, like, nobody would have a problem with it.
Never a problem.
So you had this woman that confines her own home.
Own house.
Topless. And she gets charged with a crime.
That's just
crazy.
Unbelievable, man. I can't believe that. And this is an actual trial. She could go to jail for this. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. It's like, women do this millions, billions of times a day. The other thing is that now you let them go ahead and convict this woman. They gonna have braless and topless people encircling that damn court in Utah, and y'all only got so many pairs of them fucking plastic handcuffs. You gonna cuff all of them? You can't get all of them.
It's no way.
It's gonna be like
I have a personal story related to this.
Okay.
So like I was a teenager, and I grew up in the South. I told you guys I grew up in South Carolina, and South Carolina is hot in the summer. I'm talking about it's blazing hot, and we didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have air conditioning in our home, and so my mom would sometimes go topless. She would have a bra on, but like she would take her shirt off. Like it's like hot in this house.
Yeah.
And was here. And that was her home. And that's how she did it. And I had my friends. Now imagine I'm a teenager, and I had my friends come over to the house. And my mom was like, I ain't putting on no shirt. It's too hot to put on a shirt. So she was there like in her bra, like, you know, and she didn't have any problem with it. I was mortified. But, you know, she like that was her right. That was her right as a woman, right? Like I could take my shirt off, and it didn't bother her. Like, you know, my friends always like joke like your mom is in a 2-piece for real right now, but my mom didn't care, and she got that right. And I think that this woman has a right to be in her home and be topless.
Man, I wish they would. If they convict her, and it's a female judge on the case. So it's like, come on, you ain't got no sympathy. So, I mean, we're going to see how this plays out, man. But it's absolutely ridiculous that a person's on trial. Again, if those are my stepkids, I just have to kick them the hell out. I'll be like, well, you ratted me out. You called the police on me.
I wish I would have called the police on my mama. You know what would happen if I called the police on my mama? Was sitting in her own house with her bra on, but no shirt on.
This is
I don't think I'll be here today.
This is what's hot in the streets in Utah. They're investigating bra taking off crimes, which is absolutely ridiculous. I think that Playtex and any other foundation garment, Victoria's Secret, should come to her fucking defense fund.
That would be an amazing campaign.
Absolutely.
Amazing campaign. So,
you know what? They can go ahead and convict her, and she going to get paid one way or the other. It's like, come on, marketing executives. Y'all need to be on this. Victoria's Secret or Fredericks of Hollywood. Is Fredericks of Hollywood still out? Fredericks of Hollywood, low-key, was that was like low-grade pornography.
They need
I don't know how, man.
This would be a nice come up for them.
I don't know how when I was younger we got on the Fredericks of Hollywood list, but that.
You got the magazines, the little catalogs that came to that.
Like it started out with like the Sears catalog when you're like 8 or 9. Like that's like low-key porn It's like titties and bras and panties. Oh, them panties is nice. And you go to the toy section, you look at the drawers. Then Victoria's Secret came and they just blitz mail everybody. I haven't seen so much of that as much. And then I got upgraded to Fredericks of Hollywood. So
you call Fredericks of Hollywood an upgrade?
Fredericks of Hollywood is an upgrade over Victoria's Secret. Fredericks of Hollywood had shit for strippers and hookers.
They had costumes. It was actually costumes.
Right. Oh, and don't let it like Valentine, like this time of year now, oh my God, you get flooded with it. Like right after Christmas, but before Valentine's Day, it's like put your honey in something nice, blah, blah, blah. And they have just like the most scandalous, just skankiest underwear on the cover. You're like, of course you want to, go through the pages and see what else is in there. And there it is. So
you've heard it first here on Digital Gumbo that we're in favor of the boobies. Like women should have the right to go shirtless or topless or wear a bra, whatever it is. Women have the right to do that. We shouldn't be dictating what they wear, when they wear it, how they wear it.
Ladies, our hands is off the boobies. If you at home right now and you just came home from a hard day at work, take your motherfucking bra off, free the tatas, do what you got to do, let them shits breathe, and go and have your nice glass of wine, Prosecco, what have you. This is the Digital Gumbo Podcast. I'm Nookie Bishop Jr. We'll be back right after this.
What's up? What's up? From Alpha to Omega, VHS to Beta, PlayStation to Sega, my skill is still greater. The sickest thing since VD, wicked like VG. Live my life crooked like the left finger on ET. Please believe me, this be the realest.
Well, that's all we got for this week. We thank y'all so much for sitting here with us and listening to us. For more about the show, you can check us out online on IG at Digital Gumbo, and we'd be interested to see what your thoughts are as this podcast goes viral. You can write to us on email at digitalgumbo, digitalgumbo @gmail.com. Again, digitalgumbo @gmail.com. All right, and we want to give a shout out to producer Eric. Thanks so much for helping us out, brother. Definitely appreciate it. And again, I am your host, Nookie Bishop Jr.
I'm your co-host, Idris Elbow, the broke Idris.
Until next time, this is the Digital Gumbo Podcast. We love y'all. Stay safe and peace.
Wild out in the lot, well that's hearsay. I'm just trying to do my thing, shine like a star. Skills in the place, banner, you know who we are. I'm Nate, that's Nate, you know K9. Already said my name, I just say the rhyme. Take it to the